So regardless of our disappointment, meaning for Ethiopia's disappointment in Uhuru Kenyatta pulling out from the peace negotiation, I'm gonna go and say that Kenya is a brother's keeper. Why I say that? First of all, the two countries have a long-standing relation, meaning Ethiopia and Kenya during the time of Emperor Haile Selassie and then Jomo Kenyatta. And now fast forward, let's talk about this the contemporary history of the two countries. Why I say Kenya is a brother's keeper, and that we Ethiopians have seen that in our trials, meaning in the past 2 years, in this conflict time where we are pressured externally, internally. So the first example I would like to bring is just exactly a year ago, it was in November 2021, the US Special Envoy, by that time, Anthony Blinken, was doing his first tour in the region. He was going to Kenya, Senegal, and Nigeria to talk about Ethiopia, but accept Ethiopia. Mind you what they are doing. So when he was in Kenya, actually at that time, it was Uhuru Kenyatta as the president. And we remember that eloquent speech that defended Ethiopia by the cabinet secretary, Ambassador Rachel Omano. Really, we shouldn't forget that. She said that we should not give up on the wisdom of the Ethiopian people. Kenya is a neighbor of Ethiopia, and neighbors act as a neighbor. When Ethiopians are in these trials times, we show them the way, we show them the direction, we will be there for them. But at the end of the day, it's their problem, and they have to solve their own internal problem, and we should believe in their capacity. And she added that we also believe, meaning the Kenyans, believe that Ethiopia will come out strong out of this challenge and will make it. I mean, that's really unforgettable, eloquent speech that defended Ethiopia in the face of the world, just next to Senator Blinken, who expected, of course, a different thing for Kenya to be part of their plan in throwing the regime from Ethiopia. Let's watch that video and come back. I mean, you will see exactly what I mean.
We believe in the potential of Ethiopia to find a resolution to this crisis. We must believe in the fortitude and the wisdom of the Ethiopian people, because in the end, these solutions will come from them. Let us not give up hope in the people of Ethiopia. We must remain steadfast in being positive and being engaged in this crisis. I thank you.
Now, also we remember Uhuru Kenyatta, who said that, especially referring to Sahan and different news agencies that are based in Kenya, for the international news agencies that actually talk about disinforming about Ethiopia but use the place Kenya. So the second thing is also we remember Uhuru Kenyatta's speech during, the inauguration speech for after Prime Minister Abiy was elected. After the election, almost all Eastern African countries have come to that ceremony, and he has made a speech where he said Ethiopia is the motherland, Ethiopia is the mother to all of us, and we will not allow Ethiopia fall apart, and we will work together. So something like that, but it was a good speech. Now, again, fast forward, let's come to this actually continued from president to president in William Ruto time, who is actually just 3 weeks old in the office, in his days, just when after he was elected and sworn, and he started his term after a few days. Actually, he was just days old in the presidency, and there was this Al Jazeera interview where the man asked him, saying that Prime Minister Abiy, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, now has gave up on the peace, and he's commanding a war for the past 2 years. I mean, William Ruto gave really a very good answer. I will tell you what. Just before that, let me add my point. First of all, I mean, everybody trolls, Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed for this Nobel Peace Prize. There's these facts. I mean, he cannot be a hostage of the Peace Prize. He got that Peace Prize because he ended the no peace, no deal situation with Eritrea, which has been for 2 decades, in the interest of his people, so that he can prevent a war in the future. So he has to conclude it in peace. That is the reason that got him the Peace Prize. But guess what? Do good, the universe will do you good. That's exactly what happened to him. So William Ruto answering that, you know what he said? He said, first of all, the journalists also have he insinuated by saying that Prime Minister commanding this war, meaning as if he started his war, while we all know that it was an attack by TPLF against the Ethiopian National Defense Force that brought Ethiopia into this war, okay? So let that not be forgotten. Now, William Ruto answering that question, first of all, he told him that's not, that's not here, a decision like this cannot be made here, meaning in the West. And then he also said we have to work with the Prime Minister Abiy and his team. And eventually, he said, I mean, words are really important. Eventually, because peace will be achieved, this thing will be resolved. He was very hopeful, very affirmative, and very positive that eventually this will get a solution. So that was a very good answer. That was actually being a brother's keeper, defending Ethiopia in the face of the so-called international, the international news agency. They were just blatant like that, putting it. Oh, he also actually, the journalist said, do you think, for the peace to be achieved, do you think Prime Minister should step aside? I mean, we all know that the mainstream media is actually, it's a clique or representative of the neo-colonialists, but who would have expected they would go this far and then, bring that suggestion to a next leader who happens to be a neighbor country and then in good terms with Ethiopia. That's one. And then the first tour actually that William Ruto did in the region is actually to Ethiopia. He was here in the past, just a day before, on October 6th, and he was there first of all to launch the new operation of the Safaricom which has now a branch in Ethiopia, and also he made another deal, a trade deal with Ethiopia to buy wheat. Now Ethiopia is getting better in wheat production, in feeding its own people, and also to say that to other African people. So that's of course a better price than for all African countries who are importing as far as from Ukraine, so which is also a Pan-African thing. So, there were 2 deals that were achieved, and he also invited Ethiopia to use the Port Lamu. There were so many good Pan-African things that happened between the two. In his visit actually to Ethiopia, I really wanted to raise this because many has been talking about this. He called President Ruto called Ethiopian Prime Minister, saying that there is this, just taken from the speech, one line where he said Prime Minister Abiy is a genius. I mean, Ethiopia has been in conflict for the past 2 years, and is all his term, the past 4 years, has not been easy with different internal problems. But guess what? Ethiopia was able to achieve different mega projects. Just imagine there was no war, that there is peace in the country, and what more can be achieved? How many things could have been done? So yeah, indeed, he's a genius that he resisted the neo-colonial pressures, the neo-colonialists, I mean, what not? They denied us donations, they denied us all the fund, many things, and then we have this dispute of the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam with Egypt. Regardless, we have done in the last summer our third filling, and there are also many mega projects in the country, including one, the Artificial Intelligence Institute, that was also visited by President Ruto. I mean, there are many others that, I mean, just to make this video short, that I'm not gonna list them here. And even to be there, I mean, a regime that has, you know, that has, there were so many attempts, you know, by disinformation from the West to throw away this regime, but he's still here. His ability, his capacity to mobilize the nation inside and outside to defend the country in such trial times, it's something that we cannot pass without appreciating it. So he really has held the country together and makes the people to rally behind. That is something that we can learn, you know. But also to say that Kenya, I said, yeah, Kenya is a brother keeper, but also the William Ruto, what he did in that interview, let me take you back to that Al Jazeera interview. The interviewer actually also asked him, you know, kind of, there was this competition between Ruto and Kenyatta's candidates in the last election in Kenya, and but he told him in his face, look, I am not the president, and I am the big brother, and it's in my place, it's my duty to work together with my brother, with Uhuru Kenyatta. I mean, I would just give it to William Ruto. I would give it to Kenya. And I hope that, I know we are disappointed by Uhuru Kenyatta, meaning as an Ethiopian, what he did yesterday. But we hope that he will continue in the legacy of his father, Jomo Kenyatta. And I'm sure if he was alive, it's not something that he would have wanted to see. Yeah, until next time, bye-bye.